Hey guys, quick disclaimer with this video. I'm just going to kind of rant or, well, discuss Sunfury a little bit while I play some dungeon footage in the background. I've taken a long break from the game, bought a new MMO mouse, and I'm using brand new weak auras. I play like absolute ass in this dungeon. I'm fully aware of that, so please keep the pitchforks down. Be gentle in the comments, that's all I'll say. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about Sunfury a little bit, just because when the War Within was announced and all of the hero talent started being leaked and things like that, the one that I immediately was drawn to was Sunfury Fire Mage. It's basically Kael'thas, right? You've got the orbs or the spheres, you've got the phoenix. Just adding that to what was already a brilliant spec in Dragonflight. Fire Mage was fantastic in Dragonflight anyway. Adding all of that in just seems like it would just make the perfect spec. But I think they've just kind of missed the mark a little bit, or at least that's my experience right now. So I kind of wanted to discuss why I feel like that. And it's kind of for multiple reasons, really. The first one being that essentially Sunfury, the way it's designed, is everything is about combustion. So some people don't really like this, where Fire Mage is insanely reliant on combustion. They prefer the playstyle of you've got a decently strong combustion, but then you've got lots of SKB or Sun King's Blessing windows where you're constantly getting into a mini combustion. So you've always got like a relatively balanced damage profile. But for me, I like old school Fire Mage where you're spiky, like you do very little damage outside of combustion, but when you're in combustion, you are the most damage in the game. You know, like you should be the target that's getting externals like power infusion and stuff. Like when you press combustion, people should know about it. That's like kind of like the Cataclysm Fire Mage that I used to love back in the day. And it seemed like Sunfury's kind of designed to be that way for multiple reasons, really. For a start, when you cast combustion, so again, when I say cast combustion, that's not something that you're going to get if you use it on a Sun King's Blessing proc. So specifically, when you cast combustion, you get a phoenix that aids you in battle. So essentially you spawn a really cool looking phoenix. It starts casting all kinds of spells. You also get, when you use hot streaks in combustion, you're getting stacks of something called Mana Cascade, which essentially give you a lot of haste. You're using your hot streaks, which generate Spellfire spheres, which are the like Kael'thas orbs above your head. Your Phoenix then, when it's spawned, will use those spheres to cast an empowered spell, or an exceptional spell rather. So that's things like your Phoenix will do stuff like Greater Pyroblast and things like that that look really cool. So you've got all of these modifiers that go into casted combustions. And then to sort of supplement that playstyle, they created a new talent instead of Sun King's Blessing, or it's like a choice node with Sun King's Blessing, called Unleashed Inferno. So what that essentially does is you no longer have the little mini windows, the little mini combustions from SKB, but you get one huge combustion. Like your normal combustion is just, well, it's supposed to be insane, like an old school style combustion. So I think at the minute it increases your Fireball, Pyroblast, Fireblast, Scorch, and Phoenix Flames damage by 60%. And each of those spells during your combustion also reduces the cooldown of combustion by 1.25 seconds. I think it also increases the damage of Flame Strike by 35%. I haven't actually played with Flame Strike. I don't really like the playstyle. But yeah, essentially, everything you're going to be using in combustion, it makes it do way more damage. So you're trading the kind of balanced Sun King's Blessing playstyle for the huge everything is in your one cooldown combust, which for me, that's fantastic. But it's just right now, it's just not enough. Like this talent is such a cool idea, but 60% isn't enough. Because when you're taking this talent without SKB, you're basically not doing any damage when your combustion isn't up. Like you're doing like not even tank damage, not even really healer damage. Like you're the bottom of the DPS, right? Like you're doing such little damage. They wanted to get away from that with Living Bomb, which is essentially now it's a passive. It just kind of happens while you're doing your normal rotation. So that proccing outside of Combust was supposed to be the thing that kind of supplements Fire Mage. They nerfed it so heavily. They nerfed Living Bomb so heavily since the first beta, or the first beta cycle, that no longer does anything really. Like it's doing incredibly little damage compared to what it used to do. So while you're not in your combustion with this talent, you're pretty much useless, which that would be fine if when you press combust, you are like god tier, right? Like you are doing more damage than everybody. It's really obvious that, oh my god, he's pressed combust. This pack just, he destroyed it by himself. Like, look at the DPS meter, but you're not. You're doing like the same damage as other classes when they pop their DPS cooldowns. If you're going to have this kind of playstyle, this like old school Fire Mage playstyle, where you're doing pretty much nothing when your combustion is on cooldown, it has to be insane. It had like the combustion button has to be the best DPS cooldown in the game. And right now it just isn't. I think they just need to buff Unleashed Inferno. Like I say, right now it's about 60% damage modifier. I think taking that up to like, I don't know, try like 100%, right? See how that goes. I just think to sacrifice so much when your combustion isn't up and it's not even the best DPS cooldown in the game, you know, you're like on par or sometimes a lot less than other classes, even other mage specs, let alone other classes. It just seems like a really flawed design to me. Obviously there's still a month-ish to go for tuning. But I think right now, if they want to have this as a viable option, which I'm assuming they do, because they put a lot of work into the Sunfury talents and into Fire Mage in general, like they've put a lot of effort into reworking Fire. Yeah, I just think a couple of buffs would be nice, instead of constantly nerfing Living Bomb and not giving any kind of compensating buffs, but specifically, look again at the Unleashed Inferno talent. Just whether it's changing how it works or just increasing the amount of damage that it gives. Either way, I think something like that would really help allow this spec to continue to be good. I do think a little bit of a theory why it might be the case that they've kept nerfing Fire and why it finds itself in this position is because it's the old mantra, right? That Fire Mage scales. Fire Mage, you know, with gear, scales better than most specs and most other classes. You know, once you're in like season 2 or 3 or end of expansion, if Fire Mage is good in season 1, it's going to be out of control by the end of the expansion. So it can't be OP in season 1, or it can't be good in season 1. It has to be like average so it can grow into the expansion, which I understand that sort of reasoning, but I just, again, I think it's really flawed. Why have it just because the spec scales really well because of its sort of design and the way that it does damage? Why have it be mediocre at the start of an expansion just so it doesn't grow out of control? Why not allow it to be good in season 1, and then if and when it does start becoming OP in future seasons with higher eye level, then nerf it? Why nerf it into the ground during beta? Because when the first beta cycle came out, Fire was incredible. It was OP, don't get me wrong, it was absolutely incredible. It was definitely OP, but they nerfed it so hard, specifically Living Bomb. They nerfed it, they over-nerfed it, and it's stayed that way since, and it's never recovered. And I just don't understand the logic behind that. Why not nerf it to a level where it's balanced and it's still really good and really playable and feels like a powerful mage spec? And then, yeah, if it does become OP, whether it's in season 2 or season 3, whatever, with new eye level, then nerf it, then address it. To me, that would just be a much better way of designing the game in general. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about that, though. But like I say, fingers crossed. There's still a couple of weeks to go. Over a month, actually, in terms of like season 1 actually starting in the War Within. I am really hoping that this spec, specifically the Sunfury hero talents, get a little bit more love, just because I think the fantasy of it and the feeling of like the phoenix spawning, the meteorites that fall, and the feeling of the Kael'thas fantasy, like, it's so great. So I really do hope that it gets a little bit of love and isn't something that's just left unplayable or suboptimal. But yeah, I'm going to let the rest of the dungeon play out now. As I say, I apologize for my terrible gameplay. I do plan to get better, I promise. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
gonna have so much fun!
Scythe withers as the Gorm feast. Balance must be restored.
Enlightenment dawns upon